Hi mates, you're welcome to my channel once again. My name is Truth. So today we're going to be making this particular top. It's going to be an high-low top, and at the same time the neck part of this dress, for the back neck we are going to be using a round neck shape, and for the front neck we will be using a V-neck shape. That is what we're going to use for this top, and at the same time the front will be high while the back will be low, and we're going to have this ruffle at the down part of the front alone. So if this is something you would love to learn, please stay tuned to the channel, and at the same time don't forget to please subscribe, share and like. Do subscribe to my channel. So let's dive into the drafting. As you can see here, I'm using a kind of this net fabric. It is net like, but it's the type of net they normally use in making this turban or iborun, but it's net. And already I had folded my fabric into four. A normal way of folding, if you're cutting on fabric, I will not be drafting pattern for this, so I folded my fabric into four. 1, 2, 3, 4, meaning that I will be cutting both the back and the front piece of this dress together at once. As I said earlier, we will not be needing anything like pattern drafting for this, but if you still choose to draft it on your pattern before you transfer to your fabric, you can still do the same thing. But as for me, I will just go directly into the drafting on the fabric we have right here. So now at this part whereby we have the folded part, I'm going to take my neck measurement right here. So the neck measurement goes thus. I'll be working with the neck width of 3 inches, and for the back neck I will be working with the neck depth of 1 inch. By the time I am done sewing, it will approximate to 1.5. so now I'm going to cut both the back neck and the front neck together. So I want to measure for my front neck. You know, I told us the other time that my front neck is going to be V-shaped, so I stopped here. I marked 7. From here down here I marked 7 as my front neck depth, so here I'm going by 7. And for the back, as I said earlier, I just measured 1 inch down here, and the width of both is just 3 inches, as you can see. And now the next thing we're going to do, my own shoulder measurement is 15 inches, and that 15 inches is what I'm going to measure out here after I have divided it by 2, and that will be giving me 7.5. so that 7.5 now I'm going to mark out right here. After marking my 7.5, I still want to have my shoulder slope, and that my shoulder slope, you remember the last time when I was telling us how to find our shoulder slope, you divide your shoulder measurements by 10. Whatever you get is going to be your shoulder slope. So after dividing my 15 by 10, what I get for my shoulder slope is 1.5. so at the edge here, at my starting line, I'm going to mark my 1.5 down here. So now, since I've marked my 1.5 and this is where it stops, the next thing I'm going to do is to connect back to my neckline like so. I am not sure this chalk is visible enough, please just bear with me. And the fabric is even shaking, and if you're working with a shaking fabric like this, it is advisable for you to pin it, like you can pin your fabric together so it will not affect your measurement. So now after this, for my armhole opening, what I'm going to measure down here, from this my 1.5, I'm going to measure down 10. That is what I want for my arm opening. But if you want something more than this, then you can go ahead and do that. So this is where I will be starting my sewing from, to the down part of the fabric. And now the next thing I'm going to do right here, after I have connected this, I will curve my neck depth for the back neckline. And then my V, I don't want it to be a sharp V, so I will use a kind of curve V for this. I don't want it to be straight, so this is what I'm going to do here. And then I'm going to cut out. I'm cutting only for the back neckline right now. So the next thing we're going to do now is to move to the down part of this. You know, I told us that it's going to be an high-low top. So right here now, at the down part here, I'm going to come up by 10 inches. And then I will mark. And this side, after marking 10 inches here, I will come up to the center front. And from my neckline, I'm going to mark just 20 inches. 20 inches here. And then I will mark it straight down. Remember here, I came up by 10 inches, and from my neckline right here, from my neckline here, I came down by 20 inches. So 20 inches here, 10 inches there. And now from this 10 inches here now, I'm going to connect down to this 20 inches here. So just make sure that it's as curvy as possible. And right now we're going to separate the back from the front. So I've separated my back, and then we will complete our assignment on the front part of our dress. We're going to cut the neck we traced out here, then we will cut our curve here as well. So our front piece is ready. This is our front piece. By the time you open it, it's going to be like this. So this is our front piece now. It is the highest part, and this is our back piece. You can see. I hope we can see this. So this is the front piece, and now the back piece is this. You can see. So by the time we're sewing together, we're going to take our body measurement on it by the time we're sewing. I'm sorry, I remembered something. I did not tell you the length of what I used here. I just remembered. Sorry for that. Sorry. Actually, the length depends on what you want, how long you want the top to be. That's what you will use to determine your length. But as for me, let me quickly confirm the length here. I only went with the length of what I have on my fabric. So let me confirm the length here. So the length of the back, what I have here is 33 inches, as you can see. So this is the length of the back. That is the entire length of this fabric is 33 inches. And now the width I used here, based on the width of my fabric as well, the width of it is 17 inches on fold. So by the time we are spreading this out, then it will be giving us something around 34 inches. But on fold is 17 inches and the length is 33 inches. So whatever length you choose to go by, you can go by that length, and whatever breadth you choose to go by. But because this particular top is going to be like a kind of boo-boo, it will be a kind of boo-boo side, so that's why it is as wide as this. By the time we are sewing on our machine, we'll be taking our body measurements, and if you want it to be as free as possible, you will be the one to determine. Maybe you're taking your exact body measurement on your sewing machine, or you're going to add maybe ease allowance or whatever. But as for this, I will be taking my exact measurements by the time we'll be sewing, and at the same time I'm not going to be adding any ease allowance. I might even reduce my sewing allowance because the fabric I'm working with is a stretchy fabric. As you can see, it is very stretchy. So if I don't want to use my exact measurements based on the fact that the fabric is stretchy, then I will have to reduce it. I will not be the one to determine. Maybe I will be reducing my measurements by 1 inch or by 2 or by 1.5. So you'll be the one to decide. But if you are not working with a stretchy fabric, definitely you have to add your ease allowance. You know, this is a kind of clothes you wear that you should be able to wear easily without any stress. And at the same time, if you remember, on our back we do not have anything like zipper allowance. There is no place to add zipper. We folded the back before cutting. The back was on fold and the front also was on fold. That is what I forgot to explain. Let's move now to our sewing. So now we're joining our fabrics together. I ought to have used my industrial straight sewing, but it is not sewing stretchy fabric like that. So that's why we moved here. The next thing we will be doing now is to join. I first test run this if it's going to sew the fabric, and I confirmed that it can actually sew it perfectly the way I really wanted. So let's proceed to the joining of our fabrics together. So we're going to bring the front piece and the back piece together like so. So remember, on our front piece I said we'll be having ruffle at the down part of our front piece. So I'm going to create the ruffle at the down part first before I go ahead to join this together to my back piece. So how are we going to do this? The leftover I had on my fabric the last time I cut, so I'm going to be splitting this now into two, and I will manage it to have the ruffles that I need at the end of my fabric. If you want to gather this, you can go ahead and gather it before you apply it, but as for me, as I sew, I will gather along. Okay, so let's cut this now. I did not do that while we were cutting, so I will quickly cut this out and then we proceed to our stitching. So for the length of my ruffle, this unfold now gave us the total length of 17.5 inches, and now if we should spread this apart, we'll be having 35 inches on this particular fabric. So now the length here is 35, and now I will be doubling it. You know, this is too wide for the ruffles I needed. I will be doubling this now into 4, and then I will measure out 3 inches. 3 inches will be the width of my ruffles that I will be using on this particular design. So we're going to mark out our 3 inches. Before I mark out that 3 inches, I will go on the line that is straight, on the part that is straight, and then I will mark out my 3 inches. We ought to have done this on our, what's it called, on our cutting table, but I'm sorry for that. That's why we have to go through this again. So I will mark out my, let me use 4.5 inches because I would love to tape the down part of it. So I will use 4.5 inches. I will use the 1.5 to tape it together. I will use one to tape the edges, and I will use the remaining half to join it back to the original front piece. So now I'm marking out 4.5 inches. So whatever ruffle you want to use, whichever length of it or the width of it, you'll be the one to determine. So for me, this works best for me for this particular design, and I will go ahead with that. So I will cut out the excess I have on this part now. So after cutting that out, this is what I have. And now for this, that's not the end of what we're doing here. The next thing you're going to do, you know, we have folded this into 4 now, so we're going to cut this into 2 to give us a single straight piece for each. So after doing that, this is what we have. This place did not cut apart evenly. So after that, this is what we have. So it simply means now this one is 35 inches in length. Let's confirm. Don't stretch it as you measure for you to have accurate measurements, should in case you're using a stretchy fabric like myself. So let's cross check this and see if what I said is accurate. You see, exact, it's even 37 inches. And now I have 37 inches for this piece, another 37 inches for this piece. So I'm going to be joining this together, and for me to join this together, I will join it together like so. I will not be cutting out this part because I need it. I love the lacing that I have here. And now for me to achieve what I really want, I'm going to bring this, I'm using the part that has alignment with the other parts, so one part will not be wider than the other. So for this particular fabric now, I'm not going to join this like this because I need this lacing part to be visible. I'm not joining like this. It's not going to be right side facing the right side. I will turn both to the right side, and then I will place it on one another like this, and then I will stitch it down like so. So that's what we're going to be doing now. But if you're not using anything that has a lacing edge or whatever it is, you can just stitch it the normal way you really wanted. But as for me, I will be stitching because I love this lacing part that I have, and that's what will be falling to the center of my front piece by the time we are done joining. Okay, so we're done joining this together, and this is what I have. Oh, my chalk just fell. Good. Don't mind me. I can't be childish at time. So this is what I have now, and this is the right side of the fabric. This is the right side, and this is what I have. You can see at the wrong side too. And now the next thing I'm going to do is to proceed to my front piece. So let's bring this in. And the total length of what I have at this down part, you're going to measure, is because I am managing my fabric. If you have enough fabric, your ruffles at the down part might be as much as possible, like might be very, very long for you to have this voluminous ruffle at the edge. But because I'm managing my fabric and I don't want to mix this with another fabric, that's why I'm going with only what I have as my leftover. Okay, so this is 19 inches, and 19 inches multiplied by 2, that will give us something around 39 inches. So we're going to sew. And for my ruffles, I already had 70 something inches on my ruffle. So 70 something over 39 is still going to give us what we really wanted. I'm trying to check the wrong part. So it's going to be right side facing right side. So by the time you're turning your piece over, everything will fall down to the right side. Okay, so place your right side facing the right side, and then you sew. So right now I'm done attaching the ruffles to our front piece, and this is what we have. As you can see, this is what we have now. So the next thing we'll be doing is to join the shoulder line of our front piece and the shoulder line of our back piece together, and I'll be bringing in our back piece, but right now it's going to be wrong side facing wrong side. I will be sewing this to the front. I'm trying to locate the neckline of our back piece. Yeah, I have it here, but before I do that, you can see that I have some beads here. I'm going to remove all the beads. So I've removed all the beads, and I will join the shoulder line together like so. I will be stitching these on the outside, okay? So this is what I have, and I'm going to pin it down. So right now, after I'm done pinning, I'm just going to stitch on a straight line like this, and the same thing on the other shoulder line. So let's go. So the next thing to do now, my reason for stitching is this way. I'm going to trim off this front piece. Like at the place of joining, I will just be leaving it something very close to 0.25, and then I will trim off the remaining, the rest of it. And now the back part of this piece, I'm going to fold it over on the front piece that I trimmed off, and then we'll have a very neat seam. And if you turn it to your wrong side of the fabric, you will see that the wrong side of the fabric is very okay. So now this front part of this at the top, it will look like a kind of denim piece. When you join a denim piece together, this is the kind of the seam that you have on it, and that's what I'm going to do exactly on both sides of our shoulder line. Don't trim everything off, only some inches, like 0.25 inches close to the seam that you have on your fabric. And at the same time, you can use this method for your hoodie. Like if you want to be wearing the wrong piece and the right piece of your hoodie, you can use the same format as well. By the time I'm making class on how to sew hoodies, you will see and you will understand perfectly. So I'm going to spread open like this, and then the back piece I will just turn it, double turn it over like so, and I will stitch on it. Remember, I'm top stitching it on the front piece, not on the back piece, okay? When we're done sewing this, your seam will not even be visible. So I'm done stitching this together, and at the end of it, this is what I have right here. As you can see, so this is it, and here is the wrong side. You can see. I'll go ahead now and trim off the unnecessary wool that I have here. So this is the wrong side of what we just sewn, and this is the right side of what we just sewn. Okay, you can see this. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side too, and I will bring it back to show us. So I have these two materials here. If you notice, this is a lace, and this is it's just warm design material like that. It looks like thread, but it's stretchy, and it is gold color. So just weaving everything together right here, and this is what I'll be using as a kind of design on the front part of the cloth we're sewing. Okay, so I'm just weaving like this. I had 2 pieces of this and a single piece of this, and I'm weaving the 3 together. So I'm going to weave down to the last edge, and after weaving it, I will show it to us. So I'm done joining the 2 shoulder line of our dress. I couldn't complete it yesterday. I had to drop it and go home because it was running late already. So we'll be continuing where we stopped today. So the next thing I'm going to do is to tape the neck part around with this my ribbon. Actually, you can use something that matches the color of your fabric, but at the same time this tape still matches the color of my fabric. Why? Because it goes with the color of what I have on the beads. So that's why I chose to use this particular tape. You can use your ribbon, you can use your bias, but this particular ribbon is what I will be using. And at the same time, I will be taping this outside. I'm not going to tape it in. I want it to be at the edge of the fabric round, and that's what I'm going to do. So right now at this side, I'm going to leave some. So since I will be taping from the inside, this is the outside of our fabric, I'll just turn it over to the wrong side of the fabric. And now on the neck parts of either side, I'm going to start like this. So I will be leaving some inches of the tape here, so by the time I get to this place, I will have to join this together. Just watch me as I do this. So let's tape around. So now I'm close to this, and then I'm going to measure just to make sure that the two ribbons of this edge and of this edge are lined together, something like this. So I'm going to cut this right here now. I will just cut, leaving some inches here. I'll cut like so. And I will reinforce my stitching here, then remove it from my machine. I'll make sure that what I'm joining together here aligns with the remaining part of my fabric. So by the time I will be stitching, everything will be accurate. One will not be longer than the other, you can see. So from this tip now, I will stitch down just to join these 2 pieces of the ribbon together. You can see what we have right here. So I'm going to stitch down just to complete what we're doing. I'm done with this right now. The next thing I'm going to do is to turn this over to the right side of our fabric. And after turning it over, this is what we have. So we are going to fold this. We'll be folding this on this in order to have a perfect seam. If you notice that this is longer than what you have left, you can trim it off like this. After trimming, this is what I have. Then we're folding now. This is the wrong side and this is the right side. The next thing I'm going to do, what I had here the other time that I showed us that I will be using to design the front neck part, that is this. So I'm going to stitch this now down on this to the other end. Let me quickly do that and bring it back to us. So after attaching that to the neck part of my dress, this is what I have. You can see. Now the next thing I'm going to do, initially I said I will be using it for the front design, but after sewing the neck part I thought of adding this to the front. So that's why I went ahead the other time to add this, and after adding it, this is it. This is what I have on the neck part. If you want to do something like this as well, if you don't have what I used, if you don't have the rope and the other thread that I used and the other rope that I used, you can actually use whatever you have available. But if you just want to fold the neck part of the dress and leave it that way, whichever works for you, that's fine. You are still going to achieve the same structure, just that the front design or the neck design is going to be different. So after this, now what we're moving to is to take our body measurement on this fabric. I'm going to take my waist measurement from my neck line to my waist. Mine is 16 inches, so from here now down to where my 16 inches stopped, so I will mark that, and from my neckline also to my bust, and at the same time then I will be taking my bust measurements on the bust area, and at the end part I will just try to like make a curvy shape for the hip side. And now for this particular measurement, my own waist measurement is 29 inches, but because I'm working with a very stretchy fabric, I'm not going to measure that 29 inches for my waist. For my waist, I will be measuring 27 inches. That means I have the reduction of 2 inches. And now this 27 inches, after I have folded my fabric into two, by the time I will get to my table to measure it out, I will divide that 27 by 2, and that will be giving me 13.5 inches. So that 13.5 inches now is what I'm going to replicate on my waistline. And I'm going to do that now and bring it back to us to show us. So I'm done marking my seam point. You know, I told us the other time that for my arm opening I will be coming down by 10 inches, and that's exactly what I did. And on that 10 inches, that's where I marked my bust points. When we were cutting our fabric, I said that in our cutting tutorial. So from that 10 inches On the point of that 10 inches, that's where I took my bust measurements. And the next one I took at the down part was only my waistline, because that's where my fabric will end, the seam will end. So I only stopped at the waistline. I did not take measurements for the hip line. So we're going to just stitch on that. It will be a straight stitch, and at the same time this particular stitch we're making it on the right side of our fabric, not on the wrong side. So I'm done now. The next thing I'm going to do is to hem the down part of the back piece. Yeah. So now I'm done sewing, and thank God there is light now. So I'll go ahead to press the neckline for us to have a very straight neck placement. This is what we have. I will remove all the pins I have on the side, and then I'll take this to my table and iron the neck part, and I'm going to wear it on the mannequin for us to see the final look of our beautiful top. So this is it on the mannequin. You can see how it looks. It looks giving and dope. Look at the drop at the down part there. Look at the little ruffle we made. Look at the side. You can see that this is rated 10/10. And at the same time, please, if you have gained one or two things in this class and this is what you loved and you added value to yourself by watching this, please subscribe to my channel, and at the same time make me to share, press the like button, tell a friend to join this channel. We're going to gain value from this. You can see the side. Look at the down parts. Look at the perfect finishing. Look at the neckline. It's giving